All right, welcome into another edition of Catching Up with Tommy Mac podcast here at 1010XL Podcast Studios on the podcast platform at 1010XL.com and on the 1010XL app. Of course, you can find all the great content that comes out of this great studio here. Of course, Duval together behind me. We're live on Facebook as well, like we always are. And we take all of that content, Grammage does, and takes care of getting it out there, man. Getting it out there, all types of social media, all types of podcast platforms. He does a fantastic job. Now, they got ACC Media Days coming up here. I don't do any of that stuff. I went to the very first Big East Media Days, so I'll tell you about that in a minute. But Grammage is not going to be here today. He may be in and out, but he's got a lot to do with the ACC Media Days. I'm sure 1010XL will be all over that like they are pretty much the SEC as well. We got a lot to get into today here on Catching Up with Tommy Mac, courtesy of Team Tommy Mac, and to tell you all about those great businesses a little bit later on. Added a new one, of course, in the commercial real estate world, and good friends of mine for a long, long time. We'll talk about them. We'll talk about the Code Ninjas on my shirt and others, but lots to get into today. Training camp starts tomorrow. That's right, tomorrow, Wednesday morning, the 24th at 8:30. Now, the first one, I'm going to be there from the get-go. I want to see from the very beginning how it goes, and then my schedule. You know, look, I don't mean to. I know they're working hard. I don't mean that. But when you stand there every day and you watch, guys warm up for an hour, you could probably be more productive doing something else, at least as far as being able to critique the team. But you'll be able to look at guys who's in really good shape, who looks good, who's cutting well, who's, running well, who just looks really good, So, we're going to find out how this year is going to be. Will they be ready for week one? That Miami Dolphins, man, that's no joke. We got some news about them. We'll take a look around the NFL, Dolphins included. We're going to look at passer rating and QBR because I don't know. I think QBR over passer rating because QBR factors in everything. Where passer rating does factor in interceptions, but it doesn't factor in running, like making a play happen and or fumbling. So I think you got to go with QBR. Look, the stats are getting it's just way too much. The EPA expected this, I don't know. Whatever. I'll go by my eye test. I'll go by a couple stats. You know what I do during the season? If you haven't been with me during the football season, you'll know that I go through stats pretty much every week, but comparing the teams that we just played and the team that we're about to play. There are, real important stats. There's no question about that. Yards per carry, both sides of the ball. Yards per attempt, both sides of the ball. Third down conversion rate, both sides of the ball. Fourth down now because it's so big. I mean, there are others, giveaways, takeaways, and all of that. But we're going to look at that. And I'll tell you, it's funny. Everyone bags on Brock Purdy. Oh, it's a system, it's this and that. He led the league in both last year. He led the league in both. So take it for what it is. Look, again, you can make a case for that. There's no doubt that he's in a great system. But I'll tell you what, look, I've said this before. I'll say it again. What do I want out of my starting quarterback? What do I want? I want a quarterback that's going to run my offense officially. Now, I may build it around him, build it around his strengths, build it around what he can do better than he can't do, right? No doubt about that. But I've got to put that whole thing together. And he's got to run that offense the way that I'm catering it to him. So I don't care. You could, look what would Trevor do in San Fran? You would think he would do pretty well, but he's got to be more consistent with his throws. Without a doubt, right? I mean, Purdy, look, you can't, and I'm not, I'm not saying that he's the greatest in the league. I'm not saying that at all. But for them, he's great. And eventually, I guess my point is talent, potential, upside. When does it, do we move past that and say success or not? Victories or not? How are you playing well? Are you not playing well? You know what I mean? Eventually, you got to get to that. So for me, hell yeah, I love Brock Purdy as a San Francisco 49er if I'm a 49er fan or I'm on that team. He's my guy all day long. No, I don't want anybody else. No, I don't want Trevor. No, I don't want anybody. I want him. He's my man, and he proves it in our system and gets it done. What more do you want? To me, that there's nothing more to have. You know, if he lacked in something, maybe, but I don't think he lacks in very much, if at anything at all. Surprisingly bigger than I thought when he took the field last season. I didn't know he was that, he's not massive, but is a good 6'2", 6'3", pretty well built, from the bottom half down. Yeah, I do look at that. I like to see how guys are built, man. Are they stick legs, or do they got some beef there, or they got some power, some explosion? But interesting enough, we'll go through that. We are going to go through the NFL with just a few news and notes. Jordan Love for the Green Bay Packers is not practicing till he gets a new deal. And before you sit there and just, have an idea of whatever you're thinking there, and I'm impartial. Again, do I think they should wait? I mean, I would. He's had 1 year. He's had 1 year, 1 full year as a starter. Now, granted, it was a great year. It was a great year. If Trevor had those numbers and we made the playoffs, but even say we didn't, with the numbers that Love had, nobody would be questioning any contract at all. I mean, he had a phenomenal year, 32 touchdowns, 11 picks. He went 18-1 from weeks 11 to 18, Jordan Love did. I'd still want to see him do it. He wants to supposedly be the highest paid. You look at Tua, his stats are phenomenal last year. Why aren't they paying him? They want to see it again. We didn't need to see it again, which is fine. You got to take your gambles one way or the other. And we believe it's all going to work out and it's going to be better. Again, back to what? Back to what? Can Trevor run Doug's offense efficiently? No. All pieces got to be in place? Sure. Protection's got to be there. No doubt about it. Right? But can he run that offense efficiently? That's what it comes down to. It comes down to that for pretty much every team. If you think about it. Oh, by the way, I was on this first of all, apologies to Craig Larson, but I just wasn't paying attention. Craig Larson texted me and said, hey, could I interview you? I'm with Jaguar and Athlon Sports. I was like, yeah, cool. But I didn't really know what to expect. Anyway, we did it yesterday, and I'll tell you what, man, I like getting interviewed about our Jags. That was fun. It got your juices flowing. I was pretty jacked up about that, man. But thanks, Craig, for taking the time, and hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I did. But I'm fired up. I'm fired up about this team. I'm fired up about the entire thing. It's amazing. I think locally, which you could probably say this in every market, the hype locally is bigger than the hype nationally by far, at least from what you see on these various rankings, team rankings, roster rankings. I got a list today called Top 10 QB Setups for 2024. Excuse me, from CBS Sportsline. Our Jags aren't in it, and it's based on weapons, offensive line, coaches, and defensive support. We are not. We made the wild card, which I don't know what that, wild card means anything can happen maybe. Atlanta, Buffalo, us, Chargers, and Tennessee. Honorable mention, Chicago, Cleveland, Dallas, Rams, Jets, and Seattle. I'll give you the top 10 on that in just a little bit, but it does come down to that, man. Can your quarterback deliver? Can he efficiently deliver this offense and get it done? So we'll see about Jordan Love. That holdout, I don't know. I'm not him. I'd want it. And by the way, the argument is what? Okay? Maybe not with Goff because he's got more, right, resume compared to Trevor. But if you're Jordan Love or Tua, both of them, you want just as much as Trevor got, don't you? I mean, let me show you my stats compared to his last year weren't very good. They weren't terrible, but they weren't anywhere near what those guys did. Tua had 29 touchdowns and 11 or 14 picks, was it? Tua, 29 and 14. Jordan Love, 32 and 11, man. That's pretty badass. Love was 9th in QBR, so he can take off and run. Trevor wasn't top 10, but we'll get into that. But if I'm those two guys, I'm like, hey, well, I mean, because that's what you do as a player. You say, okay, here I am. Here I'm either a starter, but whatever I am. And then I'm going to compare to other starters at my position in the league. What are they getting paid? Okay, if you're realistic, you find a number, right? Or you say, no, why not? Why not? They're taking a chance on Trevor, no doubt. He hasn't proven that he's worthy of that kind of contract yet. That's all potential. That's all upside. What they believe's going to happen, right? You don't believe I'm going to get better? I'm telling you I'm going to get better. Look at what I did. Look at what I've done. First full year starting, right? First full year starting. And the numbers are pretty damn good. Way better than what the Jacksonville quarterback, has. So that's what I'd be doing. I think they're doing it too. Hopefully for their team, both of them, they get them into camp and get them going. I mean, you can miss a little bit of time. Two or more than Jordan. I'd want Jordan in there, man. You kidding me? I'd want Jordan in there big time. Keeping it with Miami now into Tampa, keep it in the state. Shaq Barrett retires. Former Tampa Bay Shaq Barrett retires from the Dolphins. Dolphins end up signing Emmanuel Ogbah, who played with Detroit for some time. Big defensive end, defensive lineman. Shaq Barrett, God bless him. I know he lost a child last year. I think swimming accident. Just absolutely. I can't even imagine. I just can't even imagine. Nobody can. God bless him, and God bless his baby girl and their family. But he retires. What a great outside linebacker rusher. Maybe he needs some time off. I don't know. Maybe he comes back. But he looks like he is done. And something real quick I just wanted to mention. I thought it was pretty interesting. So the Raiders are going to go hold their training camp, I think 40 miles outside of Los Angeles in California. That's where they're having their training camp. There's a rule within the NFL that states, and I'm paraphrasing here, that teams that travel for a training camp home must do so outside of 75 miles from other NFL franchises, or their fans can't attend to practices, and the team can't promote that it's there unless those said teams in that market give the okay. Well, the Rams and the Chargers said, no, we're not letting you do that. So if they went a little bit further out, 5 more miles, they could. What a bummer for the Raiders. I mean, look, they're big. They're big in Cali. They're big a lot of places. I don't know, but that is the rule. How about that? You can't come into this territory promoting that you're there. I get it. I wouldn't want it either, but too bad for the Raiders. I wonder why they had to pick that exact spot and knowing that that's going to happen. Maybe they'll care. I mean, the owners are hand over fist, man. They're hand over fist. God bless them. But nonetheless, that was an interesting one. That's our look around the National Football League. We are going to get I got notes all over the place, man. I'm filled with notes. It's fun. It's go time. Olympics coming up. Look, man. I love it too. God bless America. God bless all the athletes. Hopefully they can give it their best. I know Simone Biles. We're going to be all eyes are on Simone. Can she recover? From, I don't know, what was it, a mental breakdown type thing? Mental health type, maybe mental breakdown's not it, but mental health. Hopefully that's strong. I don't know. I've never been a gymnast. I've never been anything at that level. There's got to be a lot of pressure. Hopefully she can keep it together. And USA Gymnastics, the women's, do a great job. Come home with a lot of goals. Looking forward to the track and field. Looking forward to the swimming. It is kind of patriotic. Yeah, man, it is. You're out there, you're competing for your country against these other countries. It's absolutely fantastic. What a dream for these athletes. What a dream for the sprinters. Unbelievable. And again, go check out Sprint on Netflix. You'll thank me later if you haven't. Try to see it before you watch the Olympics. You'll see the girls and the guys. You'll see who's competing. You'll see who the stuff. It's just unbelievable. What a great thing that is for sure. And hopefully they all do a great job. Eric Armstead starts camp on the PUP list. I know a lot of 49ers fans are being like, oh, here we go. He's great when he's healthy. That when healthy is real. That when healthy, it's a real thing. And look, I know it's cliche. It's corny. The best ability is availability, right? You got to be there. This doesn't mean much. He's recovering. I'm not that worried about it, to be honest with you. Other teams had to do it. Could be coming off surgery, not ready yet, not in good enough condition yet. You don't want to put him out there yet. Whatever it may be. He's a veteran. He knows what he's got to do to get ready, so they're going to trust in that. I'm really looking forward to seeing these young defensive tackles and the young corners. And I want to see Ryan Nielsen's interaction with the whole defense, but with them especially. I think that is going to be absolutely incredible. Let's get into Jag Talk here on Catching Up with Tommy Mac, brought to you by Team Tommy Mac, a group of businesses that I love endorsing right here on this show, other shows, social media posts. We're going to be doing some video content for them as well, and then out there on the streets, man. Of course, I'm wearing Code Ninjas right now. Hey, Tom, what's Code Ninjas? Code Ninjas is a great thing. It's a tech school for your kids. Get them off on the right start, man. They got 4 great locations all throughout Northeast Florida. Make sure you hit their button, their handle, and it'll take you right to their page on Facebook when I tag them. But Code Ninjas, I talked to the owner yesterday, Ryan Clark, and I was loud. I was like, man, you got something going on. He's like, oh, man, we're building Lego robots that destroy each other. I was like, that's pretty dang cool, man. Keep those kids busy. But they do go outside. They get exercise. They keep them well-rounded. But Code Ninja's part of Team Tommy Mac. So is Chris Lucero's Bail Bonds, the number 1 name in the bail game. But take it from me, knowing firsthand, quasi-firsthand, kind of third-party firsthand. But nonetheless, I seen him in action, and in a dark moment, he came in as a bright light and took care of things. 904-822-2245. Plug it into your phone. Trust me, just plug it into your phone. I know I'm not going to need it. Okay, I hope you don't ever need it either, right? I hope I never need it, ever. But I did need it, not for myself, but for others. Great. What a great thing to be able to hey, do you know anybody? Yes, I do. Chris Lucero, he gets them out quick. You throw it in the clink, he gets you out in a blink. Chris Lucero's Bail Bonds. J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling, veteran-owned and operated. They got an office right here in Jacksonville. They'll take care of all your junk, man. They'll refurbish it. They'll make it nice and shiny as best they can, and then they deliver it to veteran families in need. Then they have a hauling side for all your construction debris. That's right. They got the 30-footers, man, ready for you to be dropped off, filled up, picked up, all done with, of course, integrity and trust. And with our veterans, because that's how they work, man. Make sure you check them out. 844-GET-J-DOG. Carpet Man Flooring, home of LVP. Carpet Man's LVP. We're going to come up with another TV idea. That was a little corny. But nonetheless, you get the best quality, highest quality at the lowest prices. I'm talking tile, I'm talking carpet, I'm talking hardwood, I'm talking luxury vinyl planking. Check them out on Wells Road and on St. John's Bluff Road near Craig Airfield. Graffiti American Burger Bar, home of the McManus Burger, baby. It's fantastic. Big beef, big thing of beef and avocado, bacon, and Swiss cheese, man. Boom. By the way, I'm a mayonnaise guy when it comes to that. I don't know if you put mayonnaise on your burger, but I sure do and absolutely love it. Either way you take it, it's always tasty. Brand new menu, brand new management. I've been saying that. New ownership. They have cleaned the place up. Great for families, kids. You got a game room to play with. You got a pool table, tons of TVs for all your sporting events, and a great menu right there on 3rd Street in Jacksonville Beach. Graffiti American Burger Bar. Michael Nickus' State Farm Agency has been my agent for over 20 years. You should at least give him a chance for you and or your business. Then just take a look. Get a free quote, man. It's not a big deal. He does a fantastic job. He and his team ready 24/7 when you need them. I'm talking life, auto, home, and supplemental health. Michael Nickus' State Farm Agency. All right, Coconut Joe's, man, I tell you, the hot sauce, they got 2 new ones coming. They're pretty much ready for clearance and to be shared to the market. I tell you, that sriracha is absolutely insane. I know my friends, some of you out there have grabbed some of that from Family Tradition Specialty Foods. If you go to their website, make sure you put in Pound Team Tommy Mac into the discount code, and you'll get a BOGO free And they've got 3 offerings right now with 2 more. Fast approach. And Azar sausage is the sausage of choice in my home, no doubt about that. Andouille hot is our favorite, whether we're chopping it up for our favorite dish or putting it in a bun. Azar sausage is the one. Get them at Winn-Dixie and other local grocers. Family-owned and operated, homegrown and down home. They do it all right here in Duval, baby. And they do a fantastic job. Salt Air Inn and Suites and also Beach Life Rentals. They go together. Why? Because they're the same owner. And guess what? They kind of help each other out because Beach Life Rentals, you see their stuff all up and down the beach, whether they're taking a walk or outside one of our great hotels on the beach, all the way from Fernandina down to Palm Coast. They take care of it for you. And make sure you check them out. Surfboards, stand-up paddle boards, you name it, they got it for you. And, of course, Salt Air Inn and Suites, a boutique hotel, 4 blocks from the beach on Atlantic Boulevard, right there in Atlantic Beach. They've got concierge service. I've stayed here. Absolutely beautiful. I send people there all the time. You can walk to the corner where all the bars are, the restaurants, and shops. It's right there with no doubt about it. And they got free bike service. You grab a bike, whatever. They'll get whatever you need at Salt Air Inn and Suites. And new to the team, baby. Very excited to announce Newmark Phoenix Realty Group. Now, listen, I don't know if many of you know this. I put it out there yesterday, welcoming them to the team. I used to work for Phoenix. They're back when they were different. They weren't Newmark like they are today. But I worked there for 2 years. I was an industrial broker salesman, and I liked it. I just didn't love it, and I didn't like landlords yelling at me or expecting reports and things like that. And then I got into radio with my big friend, David H. Wydell, The Real Deal Show, and the rest is history. But I've always kept my nose in, always kept it within arm's length, talked to the fellas and the ladies over there quite a bit. And they're still my friends. How about that? That was back in 01 and 02. And Phoenix Realty Group, still my good friends. And they're your friend, too, because they're the leader in commercial real estate. And I'm talking all of it, the whole gamut, whether it's investments to office, to industrial, to retail, to development. They do it all. Make sure you check them out. 904-399-5222 for Newmark Phoenix Realty Group. Great to have them on board. And, of course, my friends at 1010XL, baby. They are the best, and it's great to be here. All right, here's the thing, I think, all right? And I got to give Duraco some love before I say here's the thing. He had a couple, he had an article of Mike Duraco, of course, from ESPN, talking about our Jags, just different going into camp viewpoints with the whatever. Mitch Morse was one of his guys. Number 1 blocking center coming into this year because Jason Kelce retired. It was Kelce, then Morse. Run blocking centers voted in the league or ranked in the league. So now he's number 1. Fantastic. You kidding me? I think I saw him yesterday. I don't go up to guys and say, hey, how you doing? Unless I'm introduced. Big dude. I mean, look good, man. Hopefully he can bring some juice to that offensive line. 14th in pass pro. So okay. Not it's fine. I think he's here for both. He will be, and he's one of the better centers in the game. So we're looking forward to that, man. They got to stay healthy. They got to get in rhythm. That offensive line, it's like a pendulum. They work together. They're not, going after men. They're going after, they run the zone scheme, then they pick up who's in that zone. Kind of like on defense, but on offense. Jaguars defense, 18 takeaways, first 8 games last year, 9 their next 9, 27 total takeaways, which is a great number, 27. Not fantastic, a very good number. Here's the problem. Your offense gave it away 30 times, so then it's kind of like, it cancels itself out, so it means nothing, right? Back to like a third down conversion. Our defense was unbelievable. 35 around most of the year. I think it ended up around 42 because they tailed off at the end. Most of the year they had 32, 33, 35. But guess what? So was our offense. So that canceled it out too. I mean, I'm giving you the ball back. No, you take it. The offense is like, no, you have it back because they're giving it back just as many times as you are giving or you're keeping it away, right? So they're giving it back. They're 1 of 3 and you're 1 of 3. So they're taking their 2 of 3 and throwing it on your ass, and then you're bringing it back. I mean, it's probably did better than 1 out of 3 based on that kind of data. Somewhere in there's an algorithm, I would imagine. How about this? Final 6 weeks of the 23 season, defense gave up more than 44 yards rushing per game. Why? Anybody tell me why? I mean, Hamilton was back, right? But he wasn't ready. Shouldn't have been playing. So I don't want to hear that, but he was back. Roy Robinson was there. Who else? Ledbetter. Roberson, who's no longer here. I tell you what, man, I go back to that, the two rookie DT. I want to see these kids and young men in action, man. They've got, man, the world. I mean, it's all for them to take. If I'm either one of their agents or family members or brothers or friends or cousins or anything, that's my message to them. Hey, man, go take it. Go take it. Get in that rotation. Be a starter. Be the first guy in. After, if you're not the starter, be the second guy in. Whatever. You got an opportunity here. I don't care that they're young. The only thing I'd be concerned about is, do they get worn down over time? Because the long season, that rookie year is long based off of when the college season ends and all that stuff they got to go through, and then, the training, the draft and all that. But, look, they may get worn out towards the end, but I don't care that they're rookies. In 1996, we had 3 rookies start for us: Kevin Hardy, Tony Brackens, and Aaron Beasley. Now, Beasley got hurt, and when he came back, he started. So what? Nobody thought of them as rookies? Why? Because they made plays. Who cared? Nobody cared. They proved it. They could go. They could compete with anybody, man. It was a great thing to have, So it can happen. I don't care if there's a starting corner that's a rookie and a starting DT that's a rookie. If they're the best, damn right you start them. No question about that. At least in my opinion. All right, top 10 QB setups for 2024. I got this off CBS Sportsline. Again, look, whatever. You got to prove it on the field. You got to prove it on the field. But our local hype is way past what the national hype is. And what do you go by? I don't go by either. I think our local hype gets a little nauseating from time to time. It's a little bit too much. You're almost like you're not being critical at all. It's not all roses. It's not all lovey-dovey. I mean, there are times there are legitimate questions about this team. There's no doubt about that. And hopefully there aren't more as it continues. Hopefully those questions are answered through training camp, through the early part of the season. And, man, we're off and running. Why not get off to a fast start like last year, but then hold it, right? Keeping them accountable, man. Holding them accountable will be huge. That can't waver. That can't waver. You heard last year coaches leaving early on the defensive side of the ball. Whether it's true or not, let's just say it is. I don't know. Can't have that. Head coach got to put a stop to that. I don't think you're going to have that problem with Ryan Nielsen. I'm looking forward to seeing him in action. All right, top 10 QB setups for 2024. What's the setups? It's the weapons that you have, the offensive linemen, the coaches in place, and your defensive support. Jags are not in the top 10. They're in it's called wild card, so they're after honorable mention. Honorable mention, I mentioned they're one of the wild cards, one of 5 wild cards. Atlanta, Buffalo, Tennessee, and Chargers, and the Jags are wild cards in this one. And then honorable mention, Chicago, Cleveland, Dallas, Rams, Jets, Seattle. Okay? Top 10, I'll start with 10. Green Bay. They've got some young talent wide receiver. I know they grabbed Josh Jacobs, free agency running back. Could be interesting. It's all down to Jordan Love. Cincy at number 9, we know them. Baltimore, number 8. The big dude. He'll be barreling down at you. Good luck with that. Throw that into Lamar, who, by the way, ranks very hard in both, very high in passer rating and QBR. Lamar Jackson, he should. He's 2-time MVP, but you wouldn't think on passer rating, but he is. He's way up there. Texans is 7. Look, I was talking to that Craig Larson Jaguar. I don't know about C.J. Stroud. Yes, he had a great rookie year, but guess what? D coordinators, they spend all year, all season trying to figure him out. Maybe they have. Maybe they haven't. We're going to find out, But they got a nice setup. Don't get me wrong. He's got weapons. He called them, what did he call them last week? The Formidable 5 or something like that. Or the Dynamite 5 or I don't know. Some kind of 5. I'd put our 5 up against their 5. I mean, obviously there's an unknown with Brian Thomas Jr., but I'm going to assume he can fly down the field and he can catch the rock. and score touchdowns, I would assume. You don't get drafted that high, but I think we got a nice one-on-one with them, but they're at 7-6 is KC. How about that? Still don't matter, though. When you got the greatest quarterback in the game, whatever, I can work with anything. That's unique, That's unique. I don't know how many teams can say that. I've got a QB that it does matter. Come on, he's got one of the best tight ends in the game, the best, right? He does. He's got great offensive line for the most part. Well, I shouldn't say great. They're okay. They're okay. I was thinking of San Fran, but they're not San Fran, so no. But he's got enough weapons, right? Good running game, Pacheco. I love the way that guy runs. But KC at 6. Minnesota at 5. Again, is it Darnold? Is it the young kid? Can McCarthy be the starter? Now, rookie QB, I'd be concerned with. Now, Stroud kind of beat all that up last year, but he seemed pretty heady. He seemed like he knew what was going on for the most part. C.J. Stroud. He's got great talent, and his release is ridiculous, and he gets it out. He's a good player. He's good, but we just don't know that year two until we see it. But it'd be interesting with McCarthy if he can get it done. Miami's at 4. Makes sense. At OBJ, on top of all that craziness. They're going to – look, I even wrote down tough out week 1 on the road against the Dolphins. Will the Jags be ready? Whew, man, I hope so. It's only one game, but I don't care. I don't care. And I don't care how tough the schedule is. Don't mean nothing to me. There's still teams. It's just like you. You had every opportunity to upgrade your team. You have. Now let's see how good you can be. Can you put it all together? I don't care about schedule. I don't, in my opinion. Phillies at 3. Makes sense. Niners, 2. Detroit, 1. I mean, O-line, weapons, yeah. Play call. And that's what it comes down to. Look, I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Not only is it go through the QB, but if you're Doug Pederson, are you not calling the plays? I think I'd want to call and it's not a knock on press. I mean, look, I think a lot of look, I didn't like the bubble screens. Okay, I've said this before. They barely work. They rarely work. When they work, they're great. They are. They get you 8 yards. They may get you a big, guy breaks it, whatever. But it only takes one guy to break it up, to beat a block. Make a miss, throw them. I don't know. It's take a chance. You see it happening, you shoot it, and they can't get to you. It's just. And I think he had to do that because the running game wasn't doing anything. It sucked. The running game couldn't get anything going. I'm telling you, I've said it before. It's pass first, run game second. When the pass wasn't going well, then the run game shut down. There was nothing to do. There was no rhythm. There was no nothing. And then when Kirk went down, it killed us. It killed us. And then it felt like he was more forcing it to Ridley instead of, look, why in 2022, let's go back 2 years, when Doug was fully calling the plays. By the way, he should have never said it last year, but whatever. He did. I wouldn't have, but whatever. 2022, Trevor had a great year. First year with Doug. Why? How? I don't know if you go back and you listen to this show, you would have heard things like, well, he's getting his guys open, so he's setting them up nice, right? Just make completions. Just get it into the hands of your playmakers and let them do the work, right? First read throws. If it's there, take it. It was work. It worked. It worked until when? The first half of the playoff game at home. San Diego did what? They sat on those first reads. Then the picks happened. Then they made adjustments. Okay? And then and they did fine, right? They adjusted fine, came back, and of course won that game in glorifying fashion. But I think and then last year was going. Look, it was kind of clunky. It was, but when it was good, it was good. And I'll tell you right now, go back to this QBR stuff, which includes running. Trevor needs to run, not set runs. Maybe on occasion, that misdirection, fake the handoff, come out when nobody's expecting. Kid can run. He's a weapon. You just don't want him taking big shots, but he's an absolute weapon. And look, I think he gets even into more of a rhythm when he's running around and making plays and not just being in this system. He's got to be in the system. But that's one thing, and I even said it yesterday, one of the big things Trevor has to be better at this year is that awareness, right? I'm in the pocket. I've only got so much time to get the ball out until somebody's here. Somebody's coming. And they're trying to knock the ball out. So if I pat it, if I pat that ball, if I pat it and then, you know what I mean? It's those little things, they add up to time. So you either got to get rid of the ball. You got to get the ball out, hopefully to the right guy. You got to get out of dodge. That's number 2, right? Throw the ball away, whatever. Or you got to take the sack without trying to force it. It's awareness. It's awareness. It's knowing exactly what's going on. It's knowing where that safety is, that backside safety. Knowing he's going to be there. Don't have tunnel vision. My linebacker coach in high school used to say that. You can't play football like this. It's got to be like this. You got to be able to see. I used to work on my peripheral. You know, huge for a linebacker, but huge for a QB. Got to see everything. That's going to be interesting, but no top 10 for the Jags and QB set. I don't know. Who knows? Look, I think Captain Kirk's going to have a monster year if he stays healthy. Those core injuries, I don't know. Knock on wood. I think Gabe's going to be a monster. I do. I think Brian Thomas Jr. is going to bring a lot of speed, and Ingram's, part of the glue, right? So they're set up, and Etienne's got to get a lot of times, and we talked about this. I don't know if you remember, but I interviewed Gerald Ingram, the running back coach for the Giants. He was running back coach here, 2-time Super Bowl champ. He talked about timing a lot with running backs. It was very, very interesting and intuitive information coming from a running back coach. How predicated running games are based off timing. I know we often think like it's just, up the gut and hope for the best. A lot of times that's just mistiming. Back doesn't take a second. I mean, typically you want that back to, it's like I don't know if it's totally equivalent because people ask me all the time, like, how would you start, teaching a linebacker, after stance and all that stuff and distance and all that, what would you start with? And I always say a shuffle. Give yourself a split second to decipher what's going on, right? Just a little shuffle. Let me see what's happening. Boom, then I attack. Running backs are very similar, especially in zone blocking schemes. They have 3 ways to go, and they want them to choose with one cut, which takes time, which is the right timing. That makes sense? Right? So if I'm going to go straight ahead, it's not just boom, go. It's I get the ball, I hesitate, let them get the block set up, and boom, then let me go. Or front side, or I'm taking it backside. But it's one cut. Not a lot of wasted movement in the backfield. And those linemen, of course, they got to do their job. Can't have penetration. One thing that kills zone blocking schemes, it kills every scheme, is penetration. I mean, if you can, knock those guys back a little bit. And look, a lot of times they're turned. Not every time, but they got a slight turn to them. So until they get square, you got a shot at really, messing things up if you hit it on time from the defensive side of the ball. So it'll be interesting. But I don't know, man. If I'm Doug, it's not a knock on press. Yeah, and people love, we all love someone to bang on, It's his fault. It's their fault. It's his fault. Whatever. Look, I think a lot of I'll stand by it again. If I said half, and then I dropped it to a quarter, but just say somewhere in between there, better execution last year. Just 0.25%, okay? So Ridley drops, I don't know how many balls. Say he catches a quarter more of those. Touchdowns included, right? Linemen make 0.25% better their block. Trevor, 0.25% better with accuracy and consistency. You know what I mean? Like you can the play calling can only take you so far. You have to execute the play call. There are times I get it. I was with you. I didn't always like him. I don't like when something works and then you get cute, right? We did that. Now, granted, I forget what game it was, but Tim Jones missed a block on the end, so it didn't work. If he makes a block, it works, but it's a big risk to get tricky when things are going your way. Number one job of a coordinator is to get that offense in rhythm, and it starts with the QB, especially if you're a pass-first kind of offense. So that's a big part of it, getting that timing down and getting the ball out quick. Look, if my line can't protect me for too long, I got to get the ball out quick, and I got to know where I'm going with that football every single time, just like the great ones do. But if I'm Doug, I'm calling plays. I am. This is, he's not on, there was a list on another, was it CBS or MSN, Microsoft, whatever, about the 6 coaches on the hot seat. Doug wasn't on that list, nor should he be. I mean, you're coming off 9-8 wins. Nobody liked the way they finished. I think Sirianni's up in Philly, and they had a worse finish. He's in more heat than anywhere near Doug is, in my opinion. And he's 2 years removed from a Super Bowl appearance. So, I don't know. We'll see about that. But Doug's not in that. But if I'm Doug, big year for him. Big year for my QB. And I don't mean, look, he's compensated great. They made the move. It's great. Nothing wrong with that. We'll see what happens in Green Bay and in Miami. I know what I'm asking for. And you fans may be like, well, no, he's better. Well, you know what? It's the nerds out there. Nerds. Those stats don't ring true. You can carve it up any way you want. Injury, blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares. At the end of the day, they are what they are. It's like your record. You are what your record is. And 9-8, 2 years in a row is okay. It's 500 football. That's not fireable at all, right? So we're going for it. Look, I want to see 10-11. How about 11 wins this year? Would that be great? 11. I've already counted them as 10, but you never know. Look, last year all it took is a play here, a play there, and they're in the playoffs. I mean, that's how it can happen, and we all know this. So regardless of where they're ranked today, it does not matter. All that matters is that they form an identity in training camp, and they're held accountable every step of the way, staff included, all the way through. From now, that's hey, man, that's the sacrifice. Don't cry. This is your job. From now to the end of the year, to whenever you're done playing, to whenever that is. Maybe it's after the Super Bowl, right? After all of that, it's the sacrifice. You're committed to winning football games and nothing else, and then you get your break, right? So hopefully that is the lesson and that is the message. And I'll tell you this, for the players' sake, it all ends one time or another for all of us. It ends for all of us, so make the most of it, man. And today's day and age, with one practice a day, you can make the most out of it for a long, long time. All right, that'll do it for me. Looking forward to getting out to training camp tomorrow. I'll give you some reports. I'll probably go live on my phone here and there. Not from inside, but before, after, that kind of thing. Looking forward to just taking a look at them, looking at the new guys, looking at the rookies. Not going to get too excited throwing on air and that kind of stuff, but you'll be able to see, size, speed, and it'll be great to see everybody out there, and I'll give you that report. So until next time, I'll be back on Friday. Friday. I've got Jaguars today, 10 to noon. I'll do this show probably 9 to 10, so come join me. Thursday, another edition of The Horse's Mouth, and I'm working on a new show, so stay tuned for that as well. We're never down. We're never down. We might get knocked down, but we get back up and, we let the bruises heal, and then we come out firing on all cylinders. All right, that'll do it for me this time around. Until next time, y'all stay safe and be cool out there, man, and we'll see you right here on Catching Up with Tommy Mack. Peace and love.